How's it going, my snowflake hot tub mothers? That made no sense. Yeah, so today I've got a free bass for you guys, which is a Vital patch, which I have named Jingle Bells bass because I made it using the sound of a bell. But before we get into that, make sure you hit that alright? So I appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, welcome. And thanks for all your comments. Thank you to everyone on my Patreon. Had a wicked year this year, to be fair. Although, you know, aside from the general lack of common sense in the world, apart from all that, it's been a pretty good year, to be honest. I've made some good friends. And yeah, let's have a listen to the bass. Then you can decide whether you'd like to unsubscribe from my channel or join my Patreon, because it's either one or the other now. You know, you can't just be a sideline watcher anymore. You're going to have to do one or the other. Just kidding. Do what you like. Oh, I really like this one. And yeah, I actually made the main movement using one of my favorite plugins and a kind of special preset on there, which turns that into this. And I just dropped the info on my Discord on Patreon for those of you who are on there. You can check it out and see how I got that movement. But today we're going to talk about the sound design of the Vital patch. And yeah, shout out to my supporter NZ Audio. Yeah, New Zealand Audio, I suppose. So big ups to you for commenting. And yeah, also shout out to my man Sticky, who has also been requesting I do a Patreon bass for him. But this one's a free one. But shout out to you anyway, bro. Yeah, so let's get straight into this patch then. So I started off with a bell sound, which I got from Free Sound again, because I love that website. Yeah, it's a very high-pitched bell. I've pitched it accordingly, so it matched the F note of my sine wave here. And if I just turn off these effects quickly, we got 6 effects on today, so I'll remember that. Yeah, and when I frequency modulate this into my really low sine wave here, you know, I get this quite ringing sound, but what happens is it goes through another sine wave, which is up an octave from this one, so it's frequency modulating into that, and it starts to get really dirty, and then I've got another one, and it's going into this one afterwards, so, you know, sample goes into first one, up an octave, goes into this one, up another octave, goes into this one, and then I'm just blending the amounts on each frequency modulation amount to get the desired texture. You know, simple things, I've talked about this before. And yeah, I've left the volume on all of them. You can see this one here is down, but that's just because it's on an LFO, because I've got some movement going into the sound here. And yeah, because there's this kind of like transient of the bell at the start from the frequency modulation, I ended up turning it off and then adding this LFO2 so it has a bit of a fade in, so it doesn't have this like kind of click at the start. Because if I leave this up, oh bless me, oh a bit wintry and a bit coldy. Yeah, if I turn this back down again, this original sample here, kind of had this like bell noise at the beginning, and I wanted to kind of get rid of that and just have the bass line really, so I've left that off. Yeah, and there's a little bit of filtering just to control the movement, and like I said, there's this main LFO3 which is doing all the movement, and I've got a little subtle amount on all of the frequency modulations just to like give a bit of texture to them, and then I've got it heavily going on this oscillator here, you know, to create more of a dynamic movement. Same on the filter, but it's kind of mixed in a little bit. And then if we go into the effects, I've done it on the distortion, on the linear fold. So we kind of drive the sound nicely like this. Then there's another filter which has a bit of mid-range. Got the bit of the LFO on there. Chorus, just to give a bit of width. Reverb again, a bit of a tail. And then EQ, just to kind of finish off the high end, give it a bit more of a boost. And then the compressor, I've just added a little on the mix with the LFO as well, just to kind of give another layer of dynamic kind of movement. So that's basically the Jingle Bells bass. And yeah, it was really nice to use a really, really high-pitched bell and then blend that into the sine wave with the modulation on a really low sine wave. So like a really high-pitched bell on a really low sine wave. But then that wasn't enough, so I had to go through another couple of sine waves and then blend all of those three together. And that's how we got that kind of that nasty texture, which is really, really cool for drum and bass, in my opinion. So I've got this main quarter note dotted movement. So I thought next I'm gonna just copy that same speed and make an LFO tool volume shape, and then just kind of mess with the settings. So I've just done this normal kind of curve here. So that would normally be, you know, at 0. But then what I've done is I've changed the phase to get like a different kind of part of the sound that's let through. And so I ended up sticking around here. And then just mixing down the volume a bit so it's not quite as intense. And although you might not be able to hear it like massively, it is actually making the sound like a lot more dynamic by scooping out bits of volume here and there. So it kind of, you can get a bit more groovy with it. Yeah, and I felt like I was missing a bit of high end, so I added a bit of ring modulation bandpass noise from Kilohertz. And maybe this could go before the LFO actually. Let's try that. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there. And then, yeah, like I said, my little secret plug-in trick to give it a little bit more movement. Check out the Patreon if you want to know what that one was. And yeah, I have to tease you guys a little bit to try and join my Patreon, because yeah, it's the kind of only real income that I get, apart from one-on-one lessons as well. Yeah, so thank you a lot for your support. And obviously this amazing plugin here that gives it a nice bit of a finished sound as well. Yeah, hope you like that video, guys. Hope it inspires you to stay creative and make some more tunes. And yeah, I should be back tomorrow with another video. So have a great day. Bye-bye.